Lost Property, Chapter 14. And we begin this chapter with Josh and Clive continuing to discuss the items that have been found in the suitcase. And on page 121 of your novel, Josh makes an interesting statement. "You don't strike me as a religious type, Clive." He frowned and thought back over what he had said while he swallowed. "Oh, the soul. Just an expression, Josh. No, I'm not one for any of that stuff." "Neither am I assured him quickly. All right, so just from here we find out that Clive is not a religious person. Now, so far we've seen Josh's parents, Gemma, they're all religious, and Josh has decided he was, but he's not. And Clive here, not religious, and yet he is a very good person, a very kind, caring, compassionate person, will do absolutely anything for anyone just to help out. We go on to the discussion of why the items, and Clive just assures him that it's a hunch. And they go back to discussing the woman with the brooch. Even she knew it wouldn't interest a jeweller. It's the sentimental value, the emotions they connect to, the memories. It can feel like you're giving people back a part of their lives. So again, this idea of sentimental value. Clive then goes on further to say, "One day I'll have to admit to myself that it's a waste of time keeping them any longer." "No, don't put them in the auction." Clive laughed at me. "You have to face facts. Many lost things are never returned to their owners, no matter how much they're loved." I didn't want to hear that, and for the rest of the day, each time a customer came to the counter, I hoped the inquiry would be about a precious item, that I would be able to find it for them. Okay, I just want to go back to this statement of Clive's, and we are on page 121, 122 of your novel, because it is actually important. Clive's statement, "You have to face facts. Many things are never returned to their owners, no matter how much they're loved." Josh did not want to hear that. Why? Simply because he has a lost property of his own, and that is his brother Michael. And he is very, very much loved. So hearing that, things are never replaced, he doesn't want to know that. He actually wants Michael to come back. Okay, so for the rest of the time, they then continue. He goes out to a party with movies or something with Alicia, her friends. He gets home late, and then he meets up with Hayley, who says, "You should have been here, Josh." "Why, what happened?" Mum was crying again. So then we read about the incident where Mum sort of, has that little bit of a meltdown again. And, all of this is related to Michael. Josh then goes back to Clive to work at the Lost Property office, and he wants to have a look at the suitcase again. So as he opens up the suitcase, most of the items are sort of not there. However, he's left with photographs. And he continues to look through those photographs, one after the other. He sees various people, faces, and then he finds a family. And they've gone on holidays, and he can see, Sydney Airport, Barrier Reef. And then I want you to take notice of this particular paragraph, and it's on page 127 of your novel, of a particular picture that he just happens to take time to look at. "This picture was badly taken, cutting off half of the mother on one side and leaving a big gap on the other, which meant the camera had snapped as much of the scene beside him as the family. That was what had caught my eye. An unshaven, weary-looking guy was standing beside a blue plastic crate with fish tails spilling over the side. Not that I really saw the fish at all. I was only interested in the face. The guy was side on to the camera, but his profile was enough. It was Michael. Yahoo! In that set of photographs that was in the suitcase that Josh was quite ready to hand into the auction and give up, there was a photo which identifies his long-lost brother, Michael, and probably where he is. Now, I do want you just to take one more look at this description of Michael that is given to us. Unshaven, weary-looking guy standing beside a blue plastic crate with fish tails spilling over the side. I would like you to make an assumption here. What do you think Michael is doing? Is he working? And if so, what kind of a job would you assume that he is working at? And we shall come back to that idea, so hold it. Okay, so it goes to Clive, I found my brother Michael, etc., etc. Then they go to find out where it is. So they have to look at the various photographs. They look at all the other photographs. They find a seafood place. They find a fish and chip shop. And then in the end, they work out it's in Mackay. And in the end, Josh actually decides that he has to tell Mum and Dad. So I had to tell Mum and Dad. He tries to call Mum, but her number diverts. He isn't able to get to her. He calls his dad, and Dad can't talk. He's got a client. Can I call you back? No, Dad, it's too important. I know where Michael is. Silence. So Dad does not respond with anything other than this moment of silence. I don't know how long it lasted, only a couple of seconds maybe, but I was bursting with the news and I couldn't wait. Dad, did you hear what I said? Dad? Michael, I've seen his photograph, taken just a few months ago. I've worked it out. Well, Clive and I have worked out where it was taken. I know where Michael is living. Then Dad's voice cut across mine. Mackay. Michael is living in Mackay. Silence again. My silence this time. You know already? Yes, Josh. He was in Mackay earlier last year, and as far as I know, he's still there. Okay, so what has happened here? Michael has been missing for the last 2 years, and all of a sudden, Josh finds out where he is, tells his dad, and his dad said, well, he was living there last year, which means Dad actually knows that Michael is living in Mackay. And he basically says, I'll explain to you tonight, and that is the end of the chapter.